We have the week of the key macroeconomic event reports of major blue-chip companies such as Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Meta. It's a 20% of companies from the S&P 500 index. If the market doesn't like these reports, we could dive into another dip of the stock market, which can impact the cryptocurrency market as well. And if they will be positive, we will see the price rebound upwards. There are a record short position occurred in the stock market. We are seeing the highest interest in short position or positions for sales. At a given moment, it is even higher than October 2023. By the way, quite interesting to note that the market local bottom was exactly in October 2023. Blue chips tech companies, semiconductors, AI tech companies, and the companies that associated with semiconductor chip and artificial intelligence are red this week. Basic companies in the area is Nvidia that fell more than 10%, SMCI fell more than 20%, AMD minus 5%. By the way, Wall Street investors expect sluggish profit season and hoping that artificial intelligence sector and Nvidia company profit to grow despite its big decline of the shares price. However, Jessica Menton says, while Wall Street experiencing a subdued earnings season from corporate America, the S&P 500's 10% rally in the first quarter may be onto something because those forecasts could very well turn out to be overly gloomy. The dollar index is on the verge of breakout of a very important metric. What does it mean for the markets after all? Strengthening of the dollar equals weakening of the markets. Now the dollar is strengthening because of the geopolitical uncertainty and statement by the US officials about raising the interest rates. If the dollar index trends continue to increase up to 115 pips, it could make Bitcoin to fall down to 50k zone. What does semiconductor index mean? April, May, November. The semiconductor market gives us a good insights. From the last 10 years, only 3 times this market were positive in April. May comes the bullish period for semiconductors. In May, the sector historically growing in 90% of the cases. Except May, one of the strongest months of the year for semiconductor sector is November. That is so because of the season of earning reports that usually boast a good result. The success of Nvidia good profits could affect the cryptocurrency AI sector as well as semiconductor companies. Let me point your attention to 2026 AI Outlook of Bank of America chart. According to their estimates, we are on the next pretty long and decent climb for artificial intelligence sector, means the semiconductor stock companies. The forecast is pretty good up to 2026, when we could see a slight decline. We have seen it several times before. AI sales for 4 or 5 quarters in a row in a range of 6 to 21%, and then we saw the potential good growth for 10 quarters in a row. And now we are in a good AI position, at least until the end of 2025. Does it mean we should buy in the large corrections? Well, historically, 6 months after bad April, markets are positive and found themselves favorable. And today we have one of the reddest April that gives us a hope to expect a green well-grown positive November. Same extreme was sold markets were last seen at October 2022. That could mean that it might be the last market bottom spot that we see for this year. Let's check one more chart of McKinnon AD oscillator. We can see that the oscillator began to grow already and the market continued to fall. That shows the current divergence. It means that more shares was accumulated than the number of shares that were sold. Check the S&P 500 election year season pattern that are showing again that historically markets are starting to grow after summer, and the summertime it's usually going sideways. The same could be happen at the current election year of 2024. However, there is still room for correction. Look at this chart for 12 months PE ratio. We have not yet got to the point that would be a fantastic for buyers. That indicator shows the market ratio share price to annual profit earnings per share. Historically, average value is usually around 15 points. But even the value between 17 and 19 points would consider as oversold for bullish character of the current S&P 500 market. The indicator is just a bit below 20 at the moment. This means that the market correction is still possible. If we will see this indicator will came into a range sideways, it means the perfect time for buying. Please note that CEO confidence has rebounded back above 50. It means the company is ready to spend money and invest in a different project as well as spending money for buy back the market. In general, it is a positive call for a global economy. For the last time it had happened in 2020, right before the rally of Bitcoin. For the growth of Bitcoin, we need the liquidity inflow. The next chart explains that the Bitcoin price top is matches the top of the liquidity inflow cycle. We see that the liquidity cycle has just begun. The United States Federal Reserve System is currently keeping liquidity at least without a big moves to any side. Fed are still printing money with help of issuing a short-term bonds. However, they doing this in order to support a fragile market, but not to its growth. What's stopping Fed? Of course, the fear of inflation. Check the Bitcoin cycle chart when the start cycle point is a cycle low for Bitcoin. It shows us that the earliest when we could achieve the top is in autumn of 2024. However, it could happen a lot after. Taking into account that Hong Kong approved Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF recently, Asia could become the booster of the next bull run cycle. That was were predicted by GCR in early 2023. I believe China and Asia in general will fuel the next run. It will take quite some time to melt Western cynicism towards this space, but the East in exceeding and earning to flex.